There is a version of you that has never seen a smartphone, never sat in traffic, never stared at a screen until 2 in the morning, never felt the specific anxiety of an unread notification. That version of you has never experienced any of the things that define modern life. And yet that version of you is making most of your decisions right now. Here is the uncomfortable truth that neuroscience keeps arriving at from every direction. The brain you are using today was not built for the world you are living in. It was built for a world that disappeared roughly 50,000 years ago. A world of open land, small tribes, immediate dangers, and problems that could be solved by nightfall. And the gap between that world and this one is not just cultural or technological. It is neurological. It lives inside you. And once you start seeing it, you cannot stop. Think about the last time you felt an irrational pull of anxiety about something you couldn't control, or the last time you checked your phone seconds after already checking it, or the last time a small social slight stayed with you far longer than it deserved, or the last time you ate something you didn't need simply because it was there. None of those things feel like survival instincts, but that is exactly what they are. And to understand why, we need to go back to the beginning, not your beginning, the beginning of the brain you inherited. For the vast majority of human existence, roughly 95% of our time on this planet, human beings lived in small groups of between 50 and 150 people. They moved with the seasons, they hunted and gathered, they slept when it was dark and woke with the light. They faced threats that were immediate, physical, and resolved quickly. And the brain that evolved to handle that life was extraordinarily good at its job. It was fast, it was cautious, it was wired to conserve energy, seek calories, monitor social standing, and detect danger before danger detected it. That brain kept your ancestors alive through ice ages, predators, droughts, and rival groups. It was one of the most effective survival machines ever produced by evolution, and it is sitting inside your skull right now, completely unchanged, running ancient software in a world it was never designed for. Here is the first place you see it: your brain's relationship with threat. In the ancient world, threats were immediate. A predator appeared. Your nervous system fired. You ran, you fought, or you hid. And then, one way or another, it was over. The threat resolved. Your body returned to baseline. Life continued. But here is what your brain was never designed to handle: threats that never resolve. Modern anxiety rarely comes with a predator you can outrun. It comes in the form of questions without clean answers. A career that might not work out. A relationship that feels uncertain. A future that refuses to come into focus no matter how hard you stare at it. And your ancient brain, designed to stay alert until the threat is gone, has no off switch for threats like these. So it stays on. The alarm keeps sounding. The cortisol keeps flowing. The vigilance never quite lifts, not because something is wrong with you, because something is right with you that belongs to a completely different world. But here is where it gets stranger. Because threat detection is only one place the ancient brain shows itself. There is another one you encounter every single day, and it is hiding inside something so ordinary you have probably never questioned it: your hunger. In the ancient world, calories were survival. Food was not guaranteed. You might go days without finding enough to eat, and when food was available, the brain that survived was the one that said more. Eat more than you need right now, because you don't know when the next meal is coming. That instruction is still running. In a world where, for most people in developed countries, food is available at almost any hour of any day, your brain is still operating on the assumption of scarcity. It still lights up with disproportionate reward signals when it encounters sugar, fat, and salt. Not because those things are rare, but because they once were. And a brain wired to overconsume when those things appeared was the brain that survived the lean seasons. You are not failing at willpower. You are succeeding at being human. The craving isn't a character flaw. It's a relic. Now hold that idea, because it connects to something even more surprising. The same scarcity logic your brain applies to food. It also applies to attention. Think about the pull of social media, not the conscious enjoyment of it, the compulsive, slightly hollow checking of it. The way you can put your phone down and pick it back up 30 seconds later without deciding to. That behavior is not a product of weak self-control. It is your ancient social monitoring system running on a new substrate. In the ancient world, your place in the group was everything. Who respected you? Who was aligned with you? Who had turned against you? Monitoring those shifts in real time was not vanity. It was survival. And so your brain evolved to be extraordinarily sensitive to social information, to notice who was looking at you and how, to track subtle changes in how people responded to you, to feel a disproportionate reward when you received positive social signals. That system is now pointed at a screen, Every notification is a social signal. Every like is a small burst of the same reward chemistry that once told your ancestors they were valued by the tribe. Every absence of response activates the same low-grade alarm that once warned of potential exclusion. Your brain is not addicted to your phone. Your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do. It is monitoring the tribe. The tribe just moved online. But here's the detail that makes this genuinely unsettling. The ancient world had roughly 150 people in it. Your brain was calibrated for 150 relationships, 150 opinions, 150 possible sources of social reward or rejection. The modern world has billions. And some of those billions now have the ability to reach you directly, to approve or reject you publicly, to trigger your ancient social alarm system at a scale it was never designed to process. Your nervous system has no framework for this. It was never built for it. And that mismatch between the scale of the modern social world and the capacity of the ancient social brain is one of the quietest crises of our time. Now, there is one more place the ancient brain shows up, and this one might be the most personally recognizable of all: your brain's obsession with the negative. Think about the last piece of feedback you received. If 9 people said something kind and 1 person said something critical, which one stayed with you? If your day had 8 good moments and 1 difficult one, which one shaped how you described the day? This is not pessimism. This is not a lack of gratitude. This is your brain operating exactly as evolution designed it. In the ancient world, positive experiences were valuable. Finding food was good. A warm day was good. Being welcomed by the group was good. But negative experiences were survival critical. A missed predator could be fatal. A social rupture could lead to exclusion. Eating the wrong plant could be the last mistake you ever made. So your brain learned to weight negative information more heavily than positive, to hold on to it longer, to analyze it more carefully, to let it override everything else when it appeared. Psychologists call this the negativity bias, and it runs in virtually every human being alive, not because humans are naturally miserable, but because the humans who paid closest attention to what went wrong were the ones who survived long enough to become our ancestors. So here is what all of this means when you pull it together. The brain that checks your phone compulsively. The brain that craves more food than you need. The brain that replays the one critical comment over and over. The brain that stays anxious about threats that haven't materialized. That brain is not broken, it is ancient. It is running systems that were refined over hundreds of thousands of years in an environment that no longer exists. And it is doing its best to keep you alive in a world it was never designed to understand. Here is what I find both humbling and strangely liberating about that. You are not fighting weakness when you struggle against these patterns. You are fighting evolution, and evolution had a very long head start. The question isn't why your brain does these things. The question is what you do now that you can see them. Because seeing the ancient wiring for what it is changes the relationship you have with it. When the alarm sounds for a threat that isn't real, you can recognize it. When the craving arrives with an urgency that doesn't match the situation, you can name it. When the negative thought loops back for the 4th time, you can see where it came from. Not to dismiss it, but to hold it differently, because there is a version of you that exists right now, in the present, in this world, with the actual life you are living. And then there is the ancient version, still scanning the horizon, still monitoring the tribe, still convinced that winter is coming and the predators are close. Both of them are real. Both of them are you, but only one of them knows what year it actually is. The ancient brain kept your ancestors alive through everything the world threw at them. It is an extraordinary piece of engineering. It just wasn't built for this. And every time you feel the pull of something you can't quite explain, every time your body reacts before your mind catches up, every time the modern world feels just slightly more overwhelming than it logically should, you are feeling the distance between the world that built your brain and the world you actually woke up in this morning. That distance is 50,000 years, and your brain is crossing it every single day.